Hi, true crime fans. It's me, Patti Lee. I'm your dyslexic detective here on the True Crime Grapevine. And what the True Crime Grapevine is a place where you can come to hear me tell you at least once a week, if not maybe some uploads, live uploads, about what everybody else is talking about on the interwebs. So if you don't have the time to watch all the different YouTube channels and Google everything on the interwebs about what's happening in true crime, just come here. Usually I upload on every Tuesday, and sometimes we have lives on Sundays. Today is July 4th. This is our 19th episode, and we are going to have a live tonight just to talk about some crazy theories I have on the Caitlin Armstrong case. She was just captured. We're going to be talking about her in a second. So this is my introduction, so just let me tell you, please, if you are interested and you like what you see, please give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe to the channel, all the YouTube-y things, and if you're listening on Podbean, thanks. Otherwise, the cases we're going to be discussing today. So we have breaking news, unfortunately, and it really is horrible to say this on July 4th. We have another mass shooting. So we're going to discuss that really quick. We've got our shot. We've got my Bushmills. Oh, it's just getting down there. It didn't start out full. It was a gift. Recycled from my father, who, when he had lung cancer, he was told not to drink, and so I inherited the Irish whiskey. Anyway, so you might not know, but on the True Crime Grapevine, we pair usually a wine or some drink with each case, but with shootings, especially involving kids, we have to pour one out, because it's medicinal. We're also going to be talking about the Caitlin Armstrong capture. She is the woman accused of shooting Mo Wilson in Austin, Texas. We have a update on the Laundry Potato civil law case that's happening in North Point, Florida. We have an update on the Dylan Rounds search for, it's tangentially related to Dylan Rounds. There was an arrest made. We have an update on Kayla Montgomery in the Harmony Montgomery missing case. More indictments. We have more indictments for Alec Murdaugh, of course, and his, I think it's his second or his third cousin, Carter Eddie Smith. Yeah. Apparently they've got more than just some blood and kin related. They got some business and, some drug running. I don't know what's going on down there in the South Cackalack region. And we have an update on Barry Morphew was in court, or was he? I'll explain. Not related to Suzanne's disappearance, but this time related tangentially to Suzanne, because he voted for her, as one does. He didn't know. How could he know, right? Like, who doesn't know these days not to vote more than once? And not to vote for other people. I don't know. I learned that, like, in civics. Government in high school, I believe you had to take it, and then again in college. I think Barry went to both. We have an update in the Naomi Irons case. Things are going forward. Her alleged killer, Troy Driver, is going to be in court for some pretrial hearings. And then we have some celebrity updates. Of course, we have more about She Who Shall Not Be Named by me right now, because that's all she seems to want to do is be named. But I'll give you a clue as to what case we're talking about. Look what I got. We have our own little alpaca. To show our support for JD. Not just as a celebrity, but as a victim who was painted himself as the perpetrator. The worst case scenario, bringing me back to perhaps one of the other cases where I think there might be something like that going on. And then we have I don't know about celebrities, but they were very rich and well known. We have an update on sentencing. There's that dyslexic detective talk on GMAX, Ghislaine Maxwell sentencing, and the sentencing for Kelly, Robert Kelly. Right? Is that his real name, Robert? Right? Oh, right. But we call him R. Kelly, or by the number he's going to be wearing for his life in jail. All right, that is what is going to happen this week. It is covering from all of last week, so the last week in June up until today, which is July 4th, but it'll update probably on July 5th. And they'll be alive either tonight or tomorrow night to discuss my tinfoil hat theories on the Armstrong case. So let's get into it. Right here is where we would play music. I do have music that was created by my brother-in-law, but maybe it'll be inserted here and maybe it won't. All right, so I will see you for the first case in a second. All right, true crime fans, we're back for our first case. Unfortunately, the shooting. As I said, we do a shot, but I need, I've got some lemonade to do on the side. So, to the people of Highland Park, Illinois, we are all very sorry that you had to experience what has become almost a common occurrence. Highland Park, you guys, it isn't Chicago. It is a large, it's not large, it is far away from, it is a suburb, I guess, still, maybe a bedroom community of Chicago, but it's 30 miles away. I mean, it's half an hour away, so it's not like it's not like Oak Park or Forest Park. It's not right next to Chicago City, even. So this is north of Evanston. There's only 30,000 people there, and it's pretty small town America. This does not usually happen there, or we don't want it to. So to the people of Oak Park, who I believe at this moment, which is around 5 o'clock, are still, what do you call it? Sheltering in place because they have not found the shooter. So to you, this is for you. Oh, not that bad, but ooh, burns on the back. Lemonade because it's 4th of July. The horrible thing is, obviously, because it's the 4th of July, is that people thought that the shots were actually fireworks, which is horrific. So, and this happened today, July 4th, in the morning. Now, there's been different reports that the parade had just started, and then somebody said it was 2/3 of the way through. I believe it started like at 9:30 in the morning. This happened at 10:14, so almost an hour later. So I believe it was 2/3 of the way through. It occurred on 2nd Street and Central in the downtown business district of Highland Park, Illinois. Apparently the marching band had just come through, so I don't know where you live and what your celebrations are like. But I've only lived in small town America around, like outside the central city. So in a smaller city. So I've always had these exact types of celebrations where it starts with like kids on bicycles, and then the scouts walk, and then you have some veterans, and then there's the high school marching band, and then the mayor comes through, and then there's like another person that's been designated, usually a veteran. That's what my 4th of July parades have looked like. And then usually you're in the downtown, and then there's arts and crafts for the kids, and people are selling things, and then maybe people are running for office in the fall and they're out shaking hands. So that's the kind of vibe that was going on. So at 10:14, and you can watch it. Oh look, started sounding like that. So you have all the noise and the bustle of a parade. All of a sudden, and again, you can see this on the, what do you call it? On the interwebs, especially there was one man who took video from his apartment. His family was down outside and he was up above, and he was taking pictures through his like screen, the screen window. And let me just tell you, if you're wondering, because at first they said there's a rifle that was left behind, so you can hear the shots, and if you can count, it is, I am pretty sure, and by now you'll probably already know, but I can say almost with 99.9% assurity it's an AK-15. The same thing that was used by the Uvalde shooter, I believe. The same thing that was used by the shooter in Buffalo. Why? Because kids who are 18 and 19, before you're like 20 something, that's the type of weapon, which is weird that you can buy that weapon more than, I believe, like a handgun. For some reason, I don't know why the law is different, because it's like a rifle, not a handgun. I don't know why it isn't considered, whatever. I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but all I know is that I looked up the rounds, because you could count almost, and the people are all saying it was so many rounds, and I was like, that sounds like it's about 15. It sounds like there's two bursts, there's two bursts of gunshots, and I counted like 15 each would be 30, and then I looked it up, and lo and behold, the AK-15 its magazine is 30 rounds. So that's too many for any, like a normal person doesn't need to shoot 30. It's not a paint gun. Sorry, I'm off into my own opinion on this. But again, thoughts and prayers to me don't seem like enough, because this time, so there are 6 dead. We knew immediately. There like 5 people were shot on the ground right there that they could count, adults, and then 1 was a child who was taken to a hospital and I believe died at the hospital. They are saying, so I listened to 2 or 3 press conferences now. Chris Cavelli is the spokesperson for the Lake County Crime Task Force. He also said the FBI was involved, and then they had a doctor speak. So Chris Cavelli spoke twice, and then the doctor from the main hospital that received most of the victims, which was the Highland Park Hospital, but then also I guess Lake Forest and Evanston also received victims, because they Highland Park had to go on bypass, which I'm sure true crime fans, you know that means they couldn't take any more trauma, so the ER was full. They had to close down and bypass to the next big hospital. Altogether, about 31 people I think were shot, so 6 have died, 24 were injured. That's not quite 31, so they were saying 31 were injured, and the numbers are close. So about 31 people were shot altogether. 6 so far have died. I only say so far. I hope that's all. And one of them was, the one that was went to the hospital was a child. Now, the doctor at that, we don't know if it was that hospital, but he said during the hospital press conference that they worked on people from 8 years old to like, that was a different paper, like 86, I believe is what he said. So I wrote that on a separate little piece of paper. So, horrific. Highland Park is a safe place. It's not Chicago. It's not the South. And if it were Chicago, who cares? That's awful horrific. But when people sometimes say, oh, well, that's Chicago, as if we shouldn't, A, care about people in Chicago, or B, wherever this takes place is horrific, right? But this was more like the only reason to emphasize it is because we need to do something. This isn't related to what people can usually blow off. Oh, well, guns. Oh, well, poverty. Oh, well, typical crime. You know what I mean? No. And we shouldn't blow that off either, in my personal opinion. But this was a very middle to upper middle class community. And who knows? So the shooter, so anyway. The shooter was described. Now, people said it was a he, although I don't know how you can tell it was a he because anybody can dress like in, I was going to say dungarees, in jeans and a shirt or whatever. But the person was wearing a hat. They had longish black hair. And they had a long barreled weapon, which they did leave at the scene. So now we know. The police do have the rifle, which is good because, as people are pointing out, it was hot. There will be DNA on the rifle, hopefully. The person, I don't know why they think they're 18 to 19-year-old. It was a slight build person. They're saying male. I don't know if it has to be a male. So let's just say any teen, young adult with long black hair, wearing a ball cap, on the run still, has not yet been caught. Now, here's how they're going to catch him, though. Besides, even if they wore gloves and there was no DNA on the rifle that they dropped, let me just tell you. People, we've talked about this before, geo-fencing. And if you've been following the True Crime Grapevine on Twitter, we have a new hashtag that we like. It's, if you don't like swearing, I guess, I have some cursey words for you, but hashtag Google that shit. So I don't think the criminal did Google that shit because geofencing will tell you, unless they didn't have their phone on them or any device at all, which I don't know if they're 18 years old, 19. It seems like they might have. I mean, everybody seems to, but anyways, they will know. They will be able to tell with geofencing all the cell phones pinging off of towers within a certain time. You know, I mean, they'll like limit it to a time, place. They know what building the person was on. It was a business. There was, it sounds like a fire escape or ladder affixed to the side of the building that they obviously climbed up. So they didn't have access to this building. You know, and then when this happened, it is horrific to watch the videos, and if you have PTSD or are sensitive, I wouldn't even watch it because it's just as horrific as you would imagine. And people didn't know at first because it was 4th of July. Then you hear all the screams. People said you could see imagine 30 rounds within a minute. You know, 2 bursts of about 15 rounds at a time. They said you could see the gunshots bouncing off the ground. And some people were hit by shrapnel. And there's stories already of heroism, but it's just frightening. And kids running away that were in the parade, and the high school students who were in the marching band grabbing those kids and helping get them to the local place of business. And so if you know anything, or if you were in the area of anywhere around the downtown area, but especially in that intersection of Central and 2nd Street, the FBI is asking you please, or if you were at the parade during that time, to turn in your cell phone. If you took any video, like give them your cell phone video. Even if you don't have to review it, you don't have to know what it is. They would like to see it, I guess. If your business cameras, if you had surveillance, any Ring cameras in the area, please turn that into the FBI. You can always call 1-800, and then it's call, you know, CALL, the numbers that correspond to those letters, dash FBI, so call FBI. I'm sure we're going to hear who it is, and I think the thing, so on the True Crime Grapevine, we always say, what can we learn from this? What can we take away? And I would say we need to know why and especially if it is the person said it was a white male. So what is radicalizing 18-year-old white men? We've got Buffalo. In 2016, the kid in South Carolina, in Charleston, or was he in Virginia? I mean, isn't this sad? How many of these shootings? But many of the Uvalde school shooting, Lord help us, all 18-year-old, 19-year-old men. So what is happening? How are they radicalized? Something is happening, and I can only imagine it's online. So if you are a parent, or even if you are an 18 or 19-year-old male, or any kid, or anybody, be careful what you see online. When something makes you very angry and emotional, be a little bit suspect of, oh, that's like an emotional trigger. Why would somebody write, why should I be triggered? What, like, we do know in the past that Google, Yahoo, YouTube, everything, basically, has seemingly pushed more and more, like, outside negative hatred views to people viewing things, like pushing them towards being racist, pushing them towards being more misogynistic, pushing them towards being more like hating one party, political party of another, like division. And people, this is 4th of July. We've all grown up hearing, united we stand, divided we fall. So who is trying to divide us as Americans? Do we have to like everybody? No. I've said this before. People hate the word tolerate. Oh, well, tolerate people. You should actually like try to understand them. Let's just work at tolerating, like not getting so worked up that we feel like there's too much mayo on our Subway sandwiches. So let's, take out the person who did that to our sandwich. Like that happened at a Subway station, I believe, in the last week. And I'm not covering that, but there's something where people are getting so full of hatred of the other, whatever the other might be. If you're a man, you hate women. If you're a woman, you hate man. If you're white, you hate black. If you're black, you hate white. Or you hate, if you're anything, you hate everybody else who's not that thing. That is a strategy, I believe, that is being perpetrated by, like, we know the Cambridge Analytica information, even though it was a UK company, that some people in America were using it for political purposes, and they found out people called probables that they could push towards voting one way. Well, if they can, that's called brainwashing. I mean, when you can push, and in marketing, we think it's okay if they can make you buy this peanut butter versus that peanut butter. But when it's like, hate all these people because we're like this people, and then even pushing you more towards, and how do you think we should handle that? Let's not listen to laws. People, be careful what you read online. Look for evidence. And evidence means that, like, at least 3 or 4 experts have said it. And by experts, I mean, and people, I don't know, our country has gotten so weird about, like, don't trust science, don't trust people who go to universities because they're liberal. Okay, first of all, colleges are full of people who aren't liberal, because when you make enough money, you're not as liberal as you used to be. And number 2, knowledge is power. All right? And people who research things, it's not always, I mean, they research and learn new things, so they don't always know the answer or the truth with the capital T. And as you remember, folks, if you've listened to me before, I have a partial doctorate degree, meaning I took all the classes and passed all my exams, my minor and my major, in educational psychology and statistics. And so I studied research, especially measurement. And I will just tell you, research isn't perfect, and you have to read it to see how good it is. And it's hard if you don't know all the mathiness behind it. But most people are not trying to do something wrong, but it is incumbent upon us to be a critical thinker and look for the truth, which is a little t. So in educational psychology, we talk about epistemology, which is how do you know? How do you know what is true? How do you know what is right and real? And we've gotten into a place, folks, where we've got part of our citizenry who doesn't believe in things that are real. We've talked about the Matthew Coleman case that is coming up. The man who believed in QAnon to the point where he thought his family was full of serpent blood, and he killed his 2 children so that they wouldn't become serpents. I mean, now that he doesn't have access to the internet, guess what he's realized? Oh crap, what did I do? So all of us really do need what we can learn from these weird divisions that lead to violence and more division, and it's like a snowball. Where is the hatred coming from, and how can we stop it? Because while I personally believe, like, I think everybody should have a rifle if you want to hunt. I think anything that you can load double barrel shotguns, sure, you can protect yourself and you can get food. But these rounds of war machines, these people get triggered literally and then figuratively, then literally. The damage is unbelievable. We need to not just have, I don't think anybody that isn't a soldier should be able to have that much firepower. But I also believe that we need to figure out why people are getting this angry and doing these things. Because the guns wouldn't be a problem if people weren't somehow thinking that this was a reasonable strategy towards something. And when everybody says, lock them, not just lock them up, we need to get them in death penalty, kill them, kill them, kill them. Number one, we need to study these people. Yeah, they need to be captured. They probably need to be in a mental facility, some of them, and others of them, sure, just the criminal facilities. But we need to study them and figure out how did they get twisted and tweaked to the point that this even was a thought in their head. Okay, so on this day, July 4th, instead of thinking, let's get X is bad, this is good, instead of thinking in black and white, let's start trying to think of how can we heal our nation and stop the violence. What is happening that is, somebody is dividing us. They're using the framers' words, united we stand, divided we fall. Someone is dividing us and we are falling. We need to look for what is good and our basic principles to keep us all together. That thing during COVID where we said, we're in this together. We really are, whether we like it or not. So, sorry, that's my soapbox. Woo, way to start case one. So, we're going to find out more about this. We need to know why. They need to catch the person. We need to know why. I hope everybody is safe for the rest of tonight because the person still is not caught. So, again, to our friends in Highland Park, Illinois, we are very sorry for your losses, and we will stay united. And on this July 4th, we will look for answers and how to stop this so it doesn't happen. We need to stop it, right? All right. And that was case one.